So I knew I wanted to do theater in college, and I knew that was something I wanted to pursue. So when I came here, I started as an actor and a dancer. And then I injured myself my sophomore year, and I kind of had to take a backseat to performing. And through that, I found costuming, and this has become like my new love and what I want to do. I'd never been in a costume shop before until I got here. And I actually didn't know how to sew when I came in here the first time. I just walked in because I saw a room full of sewing machines. I was like, hey, this looks really cool. And they were like, do you want a job? And I was like, yeah. And then I found out like I really loved it and it was something I wanted to pursue, so I changed my major. I have an actor coming in at noon. They're playing Mrs. Lovett. I'm really excited to fit them today because I'm fitting 2 corsets, one which I made and one which I ordered. And it's only the 2nd corset I've ever made, so I'm kind of nervous about it fitting her properly. When you start a show, a director usually has a concept, and they'll tell you kind of like, this is what my vision for the show is. So when I started this show, the director told me like, we're gonna do this show steampunk. I didn't really know anything about steampunk, so after the meeting I just went out and Googled steampunk and started looking into it. And through that, like I got on Pinterest and discovered this whole world that was out there of like this fashion influence. My roommate this summer is a graduate student at University of Massachusetts. And I've designed more shows than her as an undergrad, which is pretty incredible, and it's just because of the size of this program and the opportunities that the faculty are willing to give their students. Right now I'm cutting out the lining for a coat. It's actually one of those coats you see over there. And this coat is kind of special because I drafted the pattern myself, so instead of like buying a pattern from a store, I set this out and did the measurements and made it on this paper. So when I start designing a show, the first thing I do is read the script. Makes sense, and I make notes about anything that sticks out to me, anything I like, and then I usually go on Pinterest and I make a Pinterest board of images that inspire me, colors I like, things I want, and then I start sketching. But I also do a lot of digital rendering using Art Studio on the iPad. That's something I've just recently found, and I really love it for makeup design because you can actually take a photo of the actor's face and like lay it in there and then do the makeup right on their face. So when I digitally render, a lot of times I will start with taking photos of stuff I like. So this was a coat I liked that reminded me of Sweeney's, and then I took it with my Apple Pencil and I put paint over it, and I was like, okay, these are the details I want. So I do that for a couple of things just to figure out kind of colors and textures that I like. This is a corset I ordered for her for Act 1. So the reason she needs to have 2 different ones is because she goes from rich to poor. So I wanted to build her Act 2 corset because it needs to have this big feathered neck piece that the director really wants. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just looking for fit. This is the first time she's tried this on, so we just want to make sure it fits her, that it's comfortable, she can move around. I know right now I'm going to have to do some alterations. Okay. How's that feeling?
Good. Honestly, it doesn't feel like that rough.
Okay,
you were
good.
Saying, like you were worried about having to panel
Yeah.
it doesn't really feel.
Okay.
I mean, maybe up here by the arms.
Okay.
That's the only thing.
So then when I finish them, I'll turn them down
Okay.
and cover it in bias tape so it won't be
That's like maybe the
so
only
scratch.
thing. Other than that, it's fine.
Okay, well, the shoulders need to come in again. Yeah, definitely. I think it's just the opportunity to get in here and do. Especially like this shop, for example, because you don't have to know how to sew when you start here. Like I didn't know how to sew when I started here 4 years ago. And that like you have the opportunity to just hit the ground running and start doing rather than like sitting in a class and listening to theory. That gives you kind of an advantage over some other people.